You cannot win a war that you refuse to show up to without an army.
You got porn in your pocket, meaning anywhere, anytime, all day long.
And Job said, I've made a covenant with mine eyes.
What do you have to do? What lengths do you have to go to? Whatever it is, get it out of your life. Stop it.
You fight it as though your very life were threatened, which it is.
But it's not about fighting by yourself. It's about fighting with brothers who are right there with you, and I am one of them. We are in this together because this is Fight Club. I have a naturally guilty conscience. So that means that from the very beginning of my battle with lust, I was open about it with my parents especially, because I told them everything that was going on in my life. And from the very beginning, they were constantly telling me that I need to tell someone else. I need to find other people just like me who are also fighting this battle, and I need to let them in, open up, be vulnerable, and expose my deepest, darkest secrets to them. Because only through doing that could I have victory and freedom. And I'll be honest, for about 5 years of my life, I refused to accept that advice. I did everything I possibly could to stay away from being vulnerable, to stay away from telling other people, and especially to stay away from airing out my deepest, darkest secrets. I didn't want anyone to know. It was enough that my parents knew, and it was enough that I was suffering internally, knowing that I shouldn't be doing this, knowing that I shouldn't be struggling with this, and knowing that what I'm doing is wrong. I didn't want someone else to know that. I had this image that I wanted to protect, and I wanted to do everything I could to not let other people think that I'm struggling. I thought I could do it on my own and that I would just figure it out myself. Well, here I am, sitting before you, not having figured out myself. The only way I did it was through opening up to other men just like me. Look, you're not weird. This is one thing that I really want you to understand. Almost 80% of all men on planet Earth struggle with lust. You are not alone. You are not weird. I'm right here with you. And there are millions, billions of men who are right there with you too. But if you don't find a couple of them that you can trust, good luck. You are never going to break free from this. Look, the enemy, the industry, and even a little part of yourself wants to do everything they possibly can to convince you that you are alone. They want to tell you that there is no one else that struggles with this, and if you tell anyone, you're going to be in a world of hurt. That is not true, brother. You're not weird. You're not alone. But the problem is you don't want to accept that fact, because as soon as you accept that you're not alone and you're not weird and that you do need to bring this out in public is the moment that you have to accept that you can't do this on your own, that you do not have the power, you do not have the strength, you do not have the willpower in order to break free of this yourself. I couldn't tell you how long I fought with that inside my own heart. Of being like, no, as soon as I accept that I need someone else, then I'm admitting, one, that I have a problem, and two, that I can't handle it on my own. And my ego, my pride would not let me accept that. And you might be in that exact same place. You might be thinking, I can do this on my own. Look, just give me a couple more weeks or months or years. Just give me some more time and I'll figure it out. Maybe I just don't really want to do it yet. You know, I'm still turning, I'm still learning. I'm doing everything I can, and we'll get there eventually. No, brother. There is no better day than today to find victory. And there is no other way than through bringing other people into this, through finding your fight club. Look, isolation breeds lust. It is the breeding ground that created everything necessary for you to be in bondage right now. All of it came from isolation. Everything that you're struggling with started because you thought you were alone in that room. You thought you were alone with your phone, but you're not. You are not at all. There are millions and billions of other men who are also struggling with this too. And until you accept that you have a problem and that you need other people to help you get out of it, then you're never going to find freedom. So that's what we're talking about today. We are going to really dive deep on just how important accountability is, because freedom has many ingredients. I'm not saying that accountability is this one magic tool that is going to free you from everything. No, there are a lot of programs out there, a lot of resources that will tell you that you just need better accountability. You just need more people to be with you, to fight with you, to help you, to give you the knowledge and the wisdom and the support that you need to break free from this. But that's not enough. It's not. Freedom has a lot of ingredients, and we're going to talk about all of them. But one that you cannot substitute is brotherhood. One that you cannot substitute is accountability. Look, if you aren't in a fight club right now, if you didn't take what we talked about last time and actually go out and find those dudes that you can trust and you can open up to, stop right now. Stop it. You cannot win this alone. Stop listening. Turn this off, hit the pause button, go find your fight club. Do whatever you have to do to invite other brothers into this and fight with an army. You cannot win a war that you refuse to show up to without an army. So stop. Don't think that you can do it on your own. Don't think that you can just listen to these or do a little bit more research or keep fighting and keep learning, and maybe, just maybe, you might find that special secret sauce that's going to get you out of this, and you will never have to tell anyone. And you can just keep on living your life, and you never have to expose your deepest, darkest corners. You never have to expose your weaknesses. You never have to expose that you couldn't do this yourself. Brother, you can't. Take it from me. I fought for 7 years thinking I could do it myself. And the hard truth is, I couldn't. And you're no different. No one who has ever broken free from this has done it on their own. Every single one has had other brothers right there with them, because it is a force magnifier. When you're a soldier standing alone in a trench, you're a target. But when you have a fight club, you're a force. When you have brothers who are right there with you, now the enemy doesn't think that they can just attack you and you'll fail immediately and you'll fall over and then the war will be over. Now it's like, oh, shoot. This is a force that I got to fight against now. This is something that actually has a little bit of power, that actually has a little bit of unity, that can actually do something against the enemy, that can actually attack, that can fight back, and that can win. You cannot win if you do this alone. So if you aren't in a fight club, please stop right now. Go find your brothers. Go, if you have people who you know struggle with this, which that's a blessing in and of itself, go and find them. Go and talk to them. Open up and say, I'm done fighting this. I want to do it together. Please, will you fight with me? Will you be my brother in arms? Can we go to war together? If you do that, I guarantee you, someone is going to say yes, because you're not weird. You're not alone, and you're definitely not the only one who wants to be free of this. Almost every man that I've ever talked to who has been honest about their battle doesn't want to be fighting it anymore. They want to be free. They want to be done. They want to be victorious. And you can offer that to them today. If you go and you offer this to them and you say, hey, look, I'm done with lust. I want to be free. Do you want that too? And if they say yes, you just change a generation right there. So go, find someone, find anyone, invite them into this and fight right alongside them. Brotherhood is where victory is found. So go and fight and find an army. But once you do that, then we need to start talking about, how do you fight with an army? How does a fight club work? How do you get together, and how do you actually win as a unit? Because it's not about just having someone that you can send a text to whenever you fail. It's not about having someone that you're somewhat honest with, and maybe you talk with them, like once a month or something like that. No. Fight Club is about fighting together every moment of every day. We'll get into that in a second. But first, I want to tell you what one of the most important parts of having a fight club is, and that's spotting blind spots. Look, in your battle, there are things that you don't realize you're struggling with, or you don't realize are huge factors in your fight, or you don't realize are massive vulnerabilities. And you know what? You might not have the ability to see that. You might not be able to look at your fight, or to look at your life, or to look at your habits and your struggles and say, ooh, that's a weak point for me. But someone who's on the outside, they can see that. Because you are blinded by your own pride, and you're blinded by your own battle, and you're blinded by everything that's going on in your life, because you have this self-preservation that is naturally encoded into your DNA. That's not weird. Everyone's like that. I have a ton of vulnerabilities that I would never have been able to spot and deal with properly if I didn't have someone else say, hey, bro, that's a problem for you. You have a deep insecurity about your masculinity. That was a huge thing for me. I couldn't see that on my own. I never would have found that, and that was a major factor that drove me to failure. But if I didn't have someone who I trusted, who knew every part of my battle, who could point that out to me and say, bro, that's a problem. That's a weak point for you. That's a vulnerability that you need to take care of. And we can take care of that together. You have blind spots that you are not capable of seeing on your own. And only by inviting someone in, and not just telling them a couple things about your fight, not just telling them that you have a fight, but telling them every detail of your fight, being fully open and fully honest and fully vulnerable. Only through doing that will they be able to see things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see, things that are directly leading you to failure. So you have blind spots, and the only way they will ever be seen is if you have a fight club. But a fight club, at its most fundamental level, is about accountability. Now, I Googled this today, and I think it's really funny how Google described it. So I'm just going to read it to you, how Google defined accountability. It says, accountability is the obligation of an individual to answer for their activities, to accept responsibility for their actions, and to disclose results in a transparent manner. Look, in your fight, there are parts of what you're doing, of what you're struggling with, that you refuse to accept, you refuse to apologize for, and you refuse to be open about. You hide them, you bury them. You've got those skeletons in the closet, the things that you've just swept under the rug because you don't want to deal with it. Because if you're honest, you're ashamed of it. But again, brother, you're not weird. That's everybody. But only when you are in the UV light, the sunlight that kills everything it touches, only when you're in that light, which is brotherhood, by the way, do those things die? Do those things have a chance of not holding you in bondage anymore? Look, if there's even a single part of your battle that you keep to yourself, that you're like, ooh, that's too weird. That's not normal. That's something that someone's going to judge me when they see that, or it's going to change their perspective of me. If you're holding things back from your fight club, you got no chance. You got no chance, because those deepest corners, those things you are most ashamed of, are the things that are most directly leading to your struggle, that are the things that are keeping you in bondage. Everything that is kept in the dark is another chain in the link of your bondage. So you have to bring it all out into the open. And it is only through being completely open that you have a brother then who holds you to your absolute best, because you have an obligation to answer for your activities, every single one of your activities. If you ever fail, if you ever stumble, if you have bad eye discipline at one moment, or you're letting, some things that you shouldn't do get back into your life, if you're doing any of that, any of those activities, you have an obligation now to be held accountable by someone else, someone who knows you and someone who wants you to be your very best. And you accept the responsibility of your actions. When you have someone who knows your battle, they can point things out to you and say, hey, this is wrong, and you're not accepting responsibility for it. Accountability holds you to your very best. It keeps you at the tip-top shape of what you need to be. And that's what a fight club does. And that's why you need it so desperately. I cannot tell you not only how much easier my fight has been when I joined a fight club and when I had other brothers that I could trust and open up and be vulnerable to, but it also made me a better man. It made me a better employee. It made me a better student when I was in school. It made me a better person. I was able to be more myself, have more integrity, have more accountability in other parts of my life that I knew were a problem. I was more disciplined. I was more intense. I was more logical. It's just every part of my life improved because I was being held to the absolute best version of myself. And you need that. It will only do wonders for you. It will only do amazing things that will make you better. It will help you to become who you are called and made to be. So your fight club's whole goal is to hold you to your best and to hold all of your brothers in your fight club to their best. But the best way to do this is with a daily check-in. Look, last time we talked about the weekly debrief, getting together once a week to really talk and go in depth, maybe getting dinner or go playing a round of golf or whatever it may be, getting together and having a debrief of your week where you can just be fully open and honest and just grow in brotherhood, grow in relationship, and also grow in your battle against lust. That was last week. But your fight and your accountability is only as strong as the consistency of your check-in. It's only as strong as how frequently you are fighting with your brothers. Look, if you go just 6 or 7 days without talking to your fight club, a lot happened in there. And there were a lot of vulnerabilities and a lot of opportunities for you to fail, and you probably would fail if that was the only time that you checked in. So what you need to start doing is checking in every single day. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter if you get together every single night. It doesn't matter if it's a phone call or just a text message. But in some way, you have to check in. And the best way to check in is to answer these 4 questions. This is how I check in with every one of the guys in my fight club. And these are the things that I think are most important for being open and honest about your battle. And in the simplest and shortest way, getting all the information that is needed for someone else to hold you accountable and to hold you to your best, everything that they would need in the shortest amount of space possible. So this is what the daily check-in is. It's answering 4 simple questions. We're going to go through each one. Number 1, how am I feeling? This is just getting out what's on your heart today, what's on your mind today. Just get everything out there. Oftentimes, what drives you to lust is not just a tempting image or that coworker or that other student in class. It's not that advertisement, right? It's not the things out there that are like attacking you and making you feel really lustful. Oftentimes, it's other emotions that you're not dealing with properly. Oftentimes, it's the stress that you're feeling from a project or from a certain relationship or from whatever it may be, or it's the anxiety that you're feeling, or maybe the insecurity that you're feeling, or the fear. Oftentimes, what drives you to lust is not just temptation. Oftentimes, it's something else, and a lot of that comes back to how you are feeling. So just be open and honest and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this today. This has been really on my mind. I'm not having a great day today. I didn't sleep super well last night. Whatever it may be, just how are you feeling today? This is just your free space on the bingo card to say whatever you need to say, whatever's on your heart and whatever you think your fight club needs to know. That's number one. How am I feeling? Number two is what went wrong today. This is not an opportunity to say like, oh, I did this, but don't worry, I did this too. No, what went wrong today is just the pure facts. Here is everything that happened today that did not help my battle, but hurt my battle. Maybe this is something like I didn't sleep well last night. Or maybe this is, man, my eye discipline was terrible today. I was walking around, outside at the mall, and I just could not control my eyes. I was just filling up my mind with lustful images constantly. Maybe this is a significant stumble. Hey, I started looking at things on my phone last night. It's a huge problem, and I know that it was wrong. Or maybe it's just some thoughts that you couldn't get out of your head. Whatever it may be, anything that possibly hurt your battle or caused you to move closer to failure and closer to lust and closer to sin, whatever it may be, get it on the table here. No rationalizations, no justifications, no excuses, just the raw facts. Get it all out on the table. And then you follow that up with what went right today. This is a chance for you to celebrate your victories. Show your fight club how you're improving, how you're growing, what tactics that you're implementing to help yourself to fight better against the lust that is dragging you away from who you want to be. Say like, hey, today I caught myself lusting and I immediately bounced my eyes. I changed my thoughts. I did what I needed to do. It was awesome. Celebrate that. And when someone else checks in and says something that they're celebrating, celebrate it with them. We're not here oftentimes. When you're in an accountability group, it feels like all you're doing is just beating each other up. You're like, man, I really struggle with this and with this and with this. And oh man, I'm kind of terrible. And you might leave that conversation or that check-in and be like, man, I'm not making any progress. I'm really struggling. I don't think I'm ever going to be free of this. And that's not what we want. Look, you're going to be making amazing progress. Even just being here, listening to this, getting this far into the podcast or video is making huge progress. This is a win today. And you need to celebrate those, because if you don't, then you're going to get so down and out and discouraged that you're going to stop fighting. So celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may be. Get them out in the open and say, look, I did this well today. And I'm not trying to be prideful about it. And my goal is to do it again tomorrow. But I won something today, and that's a good thing. So celebrate those. And then the last one is, what am I worried about for tomorrow? Look, oftentimes failure has a lead time. It's not something where it's just like, 15 minutes before you go to bed, like, oh man, I'm really tempted right now. And then you just fail. Like, that's not how it works. It often happens over days or even weeks, but more often over several hours or several days. And you can see ahead like, ooh, man, I got a really, really long weekend ahead and nothing to fill it with. And I know that I'm really going to struggle this weekend. So getting that out in the open ahead of time allows your brothers to be praying for you, allows them to be thinking ahead of like, hey, maybe we could get together and we can do this over the weekend, or we can do this, or how can I help you here? But also that they can just be aware of it so that they can ask you right before you get into a tempting situation or right before something that you're worried about. This is your opportunity to predict the ambush, to be able to see ahead and say, hey, this is something that I'm worried about, and I need you praying, I need you thinking, I need your help as I navigate what's coming up ahead. And oftentimes, this is what I've seen in my battle at least, the things that I put into my number 4 of the check-in of what am I worried about for tomorrow aren't the things that cause me to stumble, because I've seen them, I prepared for them, and I'm ready for them so that when they do come, it's not a surprise and it doesn't throw me off and it doesn't spiral me into failure. Oftentimes, it's the things that I didn't predict, or the things that I was too scared to put into my check-in because I was afraid that maybe they would lead me to failure, or maybe it would make me seem weird, or maybe it would change someone's perspective of me. It's only the things that I kept out of my check-in that actually led me to failure. So be fully open about what you're worried about moving forward, and really take some time to think ahead. Like, man, yeah, okay, tomorrow or this over the next couple of days or this weekend, what are the things that I know could cause me to stumble? What are the things that I could tell my brothers and say, hey, watch that blank for me? Because that's what accountability and that's what a fight club is all about. So that's the daily check-in, and this needs to be done every single day, no matter what. No excuses. You are never too busy. You are never too tired. There is never something more important for you in your battle than doing your daily check-in. Nothing should go ahead of this. Nothing should go before this. Nothing should replace this. You have to check in every single day. You're only as strong as the consistency of your check-in. So make this a priority. Set a reminder in your phone. Do it the same time every day. For me, I do it right after I wake up, because often my hardest battles are overnight. And so I want that to be the freshest thing on my mind is like, hey, how did I do last night? But a lot of the guys that I am in a fight club with will do it at the end of the day, right at the very end, right before they go into possibly their biggest battle, where they want everything that was going on the day before fresh in their mind so they can just get it all out on the table. Whatever it may be, do it the same time every single day, and never make any excuses. You have to do this every day. This is the heart and soul of your fight club, is these daily check-ins. So the last thing we need to talk about today are the rules for a fight club. Every fight club is going to be different, but there are 3 non-negotiable rules that you need to ensure that you are following and that everyone else in the group is following too, because you are a unit. You are a force, an army that is going to war together, and if you don't do it right, everything could fall apart. So these are just the 3 most important things. Number 1, be clear. This is about being open and honest. Anything that you hold back from your fight club is directly hurting your ability to fight and their ability to fight. You may have heard this before. A unit is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, the weakest link is the least honest brother in the group. So you have to be fully open and honest. You're not weird. You're not alone. Your struggle is not something that you are just dealing with. You're the little things that you're ashamed of, or the little things that you don't think anyone should know. I guarantee you, your brothers are dealing with them too. So be fully open and honest. A lie, an outright lie, saying you're fine when you're not, or saying you didn't struggle when you're not, or not saying something that you went wrong today, not admitting a failure in some way, that is a massive, massive break of trust. And a fight club is built on trust. So you have to be fully open, no matter how hard it is. No matter how much you don't want to check in, no matter if you fail, no matter how much you don't want to tell them that. Too bad. Because the only way that your fight club can be a unit together is if you're fully open and honest together. It is fully built on trust. So you have to be 100% honest. And this means lies by omission too. Just because you don't outright lie and say you're fine when you're not, or say that you didn't fail when you did, that is one type of problem that is actually a much bigger one that you should probably check yourself on that. And that's what an accountability group is for, is to really check yourself when you're lying. But past that are lies by omission. It's just you're not admitting to something that happened. Or maybe you had this thing in your heart, in the how am I feeling today section, you're like, ooh, I'm feeling really insecure today. But I don't want to tell my guys that. That's a lie by omission. That is just as bad. Any lie, any sort of withholding of information is hurting your fight club. You are a unit, and you're only as strong as you are honest. So be fully honest. Be clear. Number 2 is be confidential. You might have heard this. There is a movie out there called Fight Club. If you haven't seen it, I would not recommend it. It's kind of a weird one. But there is one thing that they say there, and that's rule number 1 of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. And that's true here too. The honesty and the vulnerability that you're bringing every single day to your fight club is a sacred thing. And like I said, it is built on trust. And if you break that trust by going and talking about someone else's battle to someone that is not in the fight club, that is a massive, massive problem. That is never acceptable. You have to be completely confidential. What's said in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. Every single man there needs to know and trust that you're not going to take these things that it's taking a lot of effort and vulnerability from them to put out on the table and admit to you and admit to the rest of the Fight Club. They need to know that that's going to be protected. They need to know that's not going to be shouted from the rooftops or go and leak to someone else, because that's a difficult thing to do. And you should have that same trust in them. You should be fully confident that everything that you say to your Fight Club is kept confidential, is kept a secret, is kept inside that group. Unless it's something that is a massive, like a crime, nothing should be exposed outside of Fight Club. So be confidential. And the last one is be committed. Look, you're committing to something today that is not easy and that is not quick. Your Fight Club are going to be brothers for the rest of your life, and that's a blessing. So be fully committed to them. You are only as strong as the brothers in your Fight Club. And if you stumble, you're causing the brother next to you to stumble. If you decide to tuck tail and run and to fully surrender and retreat from this battle, you're hurting your brother. So be fully committed. It is a massive responsibility that you're taking on, because now it's not just about your fight. Now it's about your brother's fight too. And if you're not committed, you're only hurting them. So you have to be all in. Do whatever it takes. Fight for your brother just as hard as you would fight for yourself, because it goes both ways. You know, this vulnerability that we talk about, and this commitment that we're talking about, and this confidentiality that we're talking about, all of it is a two-way street. Everything that you give, you're also receiving from your brothers. So you have to be open to taking criticism. You have to be open to hearing this feedback from your brothers and being called out for things that you need to be called out for. But you also need to be able to call out your brothers. It's a two-way street. It's a back and forth, and it's iron sharpening iron, working together towards one goal: victory and freedom. And that is what Fight Club is all about. Look, you were made to be in a unit. So be committed to that unit. Be clear with that unit. Be confidential with that unit. Go all in. Fight with them every single day of the rest of your life and win the war.